Hey guys, with a couple of games under my belt, I thought I'd give Dragon Rampant a quick review, just so people can have a rough idea what to expect in it and what it's all about. So what's Dragon Rampant? Well, it's a fantasy set of rules based on the Lion Rampant rules. So if you've played them, you can pretty much get these down to a T. The scale of the game is for large skirmish, so you're looking at about 50 models, so something on par with Saga, something like that. But if you're doing a lot of the reduced model size thing, you can use it for a lot fewer. And if you want to do the whole character thing, because of the way the system works, you could just base it all on individual characters, if you like, and just keep score of wounds. So you're looking at about 12 different troop types in this book. Each one's done out, as you can see here. You have attack, move, and shoot, and they're basically the commands that you give the units and what they activate on. So in some cases the attack will be activated on a 3+ if you want to charge. If you want to shoot, it might be a 7+. You then have your morale. How morale works is you roll 2 dice, and if it's higher than your morale, equal or higher than your morale, you're okay. If you're lower than your morale but above 0, you become battered. Battered units are less effective in combat and so forth. And if your result is 0 or below, you remove them from the table. And you also minus off your 2d6 how many wounds you've taken. So the big units, I mean, you've got here are mounted units effectively, so they both have strength point of 6, so you have 6 wounds in the unit. This could be 6 individuals, or say 2 ogres or trolls or whatever, having 3 wounds apiece. So once you're down to half, once you take wounds, you're more likely just to flee the table. Most infantry units will start with 12 strength points. I think the only exceptions is scouts and elite foot. So you have those things to activate them, and your morale. You have armor value, is how many hits a unit can take before it loses a wound. Strength point. After that, you've got your attack value and defense value. That's what you hit on your opponent on a d6 when you attack. What you hit on an opponent if you've been attacked. So with your light foot and that, it's all assumed to carry spears, so you're better on the defense than the attack. These can be upgraded. As you can see, you've got special rules and you've got options, so you can make each thing completely different and act as how you like. So as I say, if you wanted, I think ogres in the back of the book are based on like bellicose foot, so they're totally aggressive. It's kind of your warband designed stat line. So they're good on the attack, really bad on the defense. But because they've got strength point of 12, you can have 4 ogre models, each with 3 wounds. So that's how effectively it works. So you can really use whatever you want to into this and make up what you want. On top of these special rules here, you've also got something else. So you also have the fantastical rules. These basically are little rules upgrades for different individual units that you can get that will obviously change their points cost and change the effect in the game. Also with these you can use to create your spellcasters and such. Also have magic items which make different games a bit of fun, and also a good way of spending 1 or 2 points, because most units in this cost between say 3 and 6 points basic. And you play with 24 points at a standard game, so it can be a bit awkward to try and get the right points around for it. But as I say, you can use whatever you like and really create whatever you want for this. The undead have their own special rules in here, which because you've got fear here. You've got the griffin down the bottom left hand side. I often use a griffin with my Dark Age chaps, my Normans. Basically all I've done there is taken an elite rider, which I might change later on because that might be a bit too heavy for him, but I'm quite liking the elite rider, and then upgrading him to have fly and level headed, so he comes in at 10 points, which is the max you can spend on any unit. So no, you can't go over the top with all the special characters and all the special rules you can on one unit. So with him at 10 points, I now have a single model. It's a reduced model, but it has 6 wounds, so he would be exactly the same as 6 cavalry units in heavy armor, 6 models of cavalry in heavy armor. They just have a wound each, so you really can do whatever you like with this. Also, there's plenty of scenarios in here. I think there's 7 scenarios, and they're all good fun. I've had a go at most of them so far. I don't think the Sacred Mole of Urquhart or whatever it is what I've tried yet, but I have done the Crystal Gale, and that was good fun. Again, it's all done in very tongue-in-cheek write-ups for them. Very enjoyable read through as a book. And after this also, there's a whole bunch of different types of army lists to give you a rough idea on what you want to do, and every army that you can think of is basic standard undead and humans and stuff like that you can look through. So whatever you want to use, whatever you want to scale, I think this would be a good fun game just to get people playing, really. I mean, the rules themselves are not massive in here. There's only a couple of rules which can kind of get annoying. That mostly is, for me, is the 3-inch rule, which no units, not friend or foe, can't go within 3 inches of another. And in a skirmish game, I find that can be somewhat irritating, especially if you're trying to grab objectives. There seems to be a big block somewhere. But again, these rules are designed for you to mix and match and do what you want with your house rules and create what you like with them. So if you wanted to do, 6 models either side, each of the minor characters, they'll just have 12 wounds or 6 wounds equivalently, and you can have like a dungeon game if you wanted to with these rules. It is really that open, and nicely done set of rules. So I'll just leave you with this picture of the game that we played with some monsters, my goblins trying to take them on. As you can see, my poor goblins were in for a hell of a time, as they had to get to the centre of the board and knock over the cooking pot, as most of those beasties there were eating my buddies. Great little scenario and good fun. As this has got my Warhammer out. I haven't used it in ages. I haven't used it since the Age of Sigmar was released. Those rules didn't interest me. I've given these a go and have really enjoyed them. And hopefully we'll get a few more players. I know some guys coming down with bringing their Lizardmen out. All the stuff we haven't used for a while. And that's mainly why I brought it. I mean, when you get a club, we've been collecting Warhammer for such a long time and stops playing it. A few have gone on to Kings of War. This has brought the club, some of the players back in the club now, and got out their old fantasy models. So it's all fantastic. So I'd say a good cheap set of rules, which are easy to play, easy to pick up, and since you can use whatever you like, it's pretty open. Hopefully we'll have a few more battle reports. I have got a battle report up at the moment. Please watch it. I do spend a bit more time on describing what's going on, so it'll be my first battle report, so have a look through and see what you think of it. Other than that, I'll see you next time. Farewellus.